Okay, so this is the second part of this video, looking at calculation of inflation rate using the composite price index. So we looked at this in the previous video. So what we're going to do now is we're going to compare this year one, and we'll do to year 4. So over the 4-year period, what's the rate of inflation? Okay, so let's just continue on what we're doing. So follow the thing. It says construct a simple index, multiply the price change for each. So I'm looking here at this stage because we've kind of all this done. So multiply the price change index by its relevant weight and work these things out. So what we have, let's again start off with food. So food, we're looking at 24 and 19. 24 and 19. So the year that we're currently in, which is year 4, all of the original year. Again, we need to compare it to a previous year. We need to compare it to what's called a base year, because you can't do percentages, increase or decrease, without having the original year. And the original year, as we said, is year 1. Multiply that by 100. So 24 divided by 19, isn't that right? Which is 1.26 or 126. And I'm just going to go straight into multiply that by the weight. And the weight here we have is 40%. So 40%. And I'm going to multiply that by 0.4, just so I have it straight away. And that gives me 0.50 is equal to 0.5. Oh, actually, I made a mistake there. Hold on a sec. 126 multiplied by 0.4, just my calculator here. Excuse me, 50.4. Okay, so let's look at the next one, and the next one is your transportation. So transportation, and we're looking at, again, what's our year? We have 41 all over our original, which is 45. 41 over 45. So our price has gone down for transportation. Again, transportation is one of these things that the price is determined by what's called a transportation regulator. So because a lot of our transportation services are publicly owned, the Department of Transportation can reduce prices if they want, or they can hike prices up. So again, same thing. 41, out your calculator, please, divided by 45. So following I'm doing here is 91. So the price has gone down by actually 9%. But again, our question is, it's not just about gone down by 9%. It depends on the proportion of income that we spend on this, which will help us calculate the rate of inflation. So multiply by 0.25 gives, multiply that by, always show your work, and that's what I'm doing here, by 25% equals 22.75. Okay. And then the last one is health. And we're looking again, same thing. So it's 33 and 28. So 33 over 28 multiplied by 100 over 1. Again, out with your calculator. So it's 33 divided by 28, which is 117. There's a few decimal places here. Don't be worrying too much about that. They'll tell you in the question whether you need to multiply, to one decimal place or whatever the case may be. Blue multiplied by, and our weight for this is 35%. So you'll be given all this in the question. As I said, we'll look at a leaving cert higher level question right now. So 117, 117 multiplied by 0.35, and it is 40.95. We have to add all those together, and this will give us then our overall change in prices, and it'll give us our inflation rate. So what do we have? 40.95, 40.95. Plus 22.75 plus 50.4. Is that right? Yeah. So that's 114. If I make a mistake here, by the way, just leave it in a comment. It's possible. I have been known to make mistakes in my life. Therefore, the rate of inflation between year 1 and year 4 is equal to, well, we started off at 100, and that's why it says it up here, by the way. It doesn't say it up here, but like you're starting off at 100. 100 is the base year, is 14.1%. Is that high for 4 years? Yeah, it's pretty high. But anyway, again, this is only looking at three different industries. When we look at the Consumer Price Index, which is our actual rate of inflation, you will see that it is it's a little bit different because you include hundreds of items. This is only something very simple. Again, this is really just how to do this in the most basic format. Okay, let's look at an exam question. So what do we have here? This is, I think, this is about 6 or 7 years old. Okay, and this one it's like 2013 or 2014 question. So same thing again, leaving to a higher level question, and this is something that could pop up with you. So for a composite weighted price index, which we've done, covering 3 categories of expenditure given in the following table, calculate the index for the current year. The base year value is 100. So again, we know that. So 100 is the base year, which is right here, and then it asks us then to figure out what's the rate of inflation between that year and this year here. Okay. And bearing in mind that your weighting is here. So your weighting here is your percentage of items spent on all items. So same thing. Now, really what we need to do as well is show all your workings. This is really important. Now, more than maths, anything you put in your calculator, make sure you put it down so you show your work at all times. It's very easy to make a little mathematical error here, as you are well aware. So you got to show your workings. So let's tip away straight into it. Because this is a 25-mark question, but it shouldn't take you more than 5 or 6 minutes. So let's go. Food. Same thing. What's the situation? The formula is we look for a current year. Our current year is right here. Current year is 24.5. And we put that all over our original year or our base year, and that's 20. You multiply that by 100 over. Correct? Out with your calculator, and please, please, please don't just be staring at me when I do this. In fact, you should probably just do this yourself before I even start. Multiply that by 100 over 1, so it's 24.5 divided by 20, which is, and you multiply by 100 over 1, is 122. Okay? And I'm just going to do all of these first. And then we have clothing and footwear. So clothing and footwear, C&F, again, same thing. We have 40 is the current year, all over 42. So the price of footwear has actually gone down. So there's been deflation. You multiply that by 100 over 1. That gives you a value. So 40 divided by 42 gives me 95. Okay, so the price of clothing has actually gone down by 5%. But again, depending on how much of our income we spend on this proportionately, that may not be a true reflection on the inflation rate. Please ask me about this if I haven't explained that properly. Other items then is other items. Sure, what does that mean? 36 all over 30 and multiply by 100 over 1. Now look, doing this, I mean, some of you, we're all going to forget how to do this. So this is one of these topics, and there's many of them in economics where like 2 or 3 days before you leave the third exam, you're going to sit down and go, okay, which are the formulas I need to remember, like the multiplier effect, and this one here, drawing our market structures. Like there's a couple of things that you're going to need to sit down literally the night or 2 nights before the exam and say, what are the things that I need to redo again, because I know they're simple, but I just need to do them in my head. And you know, theory is something you will remember. 36 divided by 30. So the price has gone up quite a lot for this. That's 120. Okay, then what do we need to do? Again, going back to my weighting. So this tells me, for instance, that food has gone up by 22%, that clothing and footwear has gone down by 5%, and that other stuff has gone up by 20%. So again, we're looking for the average rate of inflation. And what we cannot do is we cannot just add the 3 of these and divide by 3. That's not how it works, because I don't spend the same proportion on clothing and footwear as I do on food. I don't do that, which means I need to take into account how much I spend as a portion of my income. Multiply that by 40%. Yes? Multiply that by 25%. Multiply that by 35%. And you'll see if you add the 3 of those up, you'll get 100. So that just shows that's my total income. So again, back to your calculators. We have 122 multiplied by 0.4. That gives me 48. 0.8. I'll round that up, I think. And then we have 95 multiplied by 0.25, which is 23.75. And then the last one is we've 120 multiplied by 0.35, and that gives us 42. You add all those together. Again, going back up here to this, add up all the price changes. So again, you need to know all of this first before you can even start doing this. Now look, it's pretty straightforward, but you need to know the steps involved in doing this. All right, so add all them together. So it's a 42 plus 23.75 plus 48.8, and that gives us 114.55. You always need to state it. Okay, calculate the index. The index is actually calculated, like that's the actual answer, but it's just so so you're under no illusion. Always present your work, because there might be a follow-on question that says, what does this index actually mean? And what the index actually means is the rate of inflation Now we're not told, are we told that's year 1 and year 2? It just says current year. Between the 2 years, base year and current year is, and it's 14.55%. And no harm, take out a bit of highlight. Make it so clear. I mean, that's a really clear question there now. So if I'm correcting that again, it's just so simple. I'm like, yeah, tick, correct. Yeah, tick, 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 tick. It's so easy. And I'm like, tick, everything's perfect. That makes sense? I hope it does. So I think we will do one of those questions tonight. And then we're going to look then at the Central Statistics Office, because you can imagine now at the Central Statistics Office, they don't just look at food, they don't just look at clothing, they don't just look at other, they look at everything you think you spend your money on. And it might be entertainment, it might be restaurants, it might be cinemas, it could be the price of a bus, the price of a train, the price of a plane, it could be the price of an app, everything. They have to take this into account, and they create their own price index called the Consumer Price Index. We will have a look at that at the next class on Thursday. And then I'll see you then on Monday. Isn't life wonderful? Let me know in comments below. Please let me know in comments below if this doesn't make sense to you. I'm happy to do another video on this, no problem. But there's 3 questions kind of done there, so it should be pretty straightforward. Okay. I know you understand the maths, but just as long as you understand the concept behind it and why we're doing it. Okay. Cheerio.